Hello everybody, today I'm going to be showing you how to play Zyra mid and utilize her abilities to the best that you can get damage for. So you first want to start with your E. That's the first thing you want to get. You also want to max it. I like to max this because for one, I like the slow, and it's the easiest ability to land on enemy champions. So you can see like it. I need to do this really quick. Hang on. Okay, there we go. So usually, yeah, what I start off with is her E. When I'm first in lane and my minions have spawned and I start building up CS, I kind of refrain from using my abilities. I let my passive spawn these seeds, which is here, Garden of Thorns, and seeds spawn around Zyra, periodically becoming faster with level and lasting 30 seconds. If enemy champions step on a seed, it dies. As Zyra is hiding in brush, the seed will not spawn until she reveals herself. Whenever extra plants striking the same target deals 50% less damage. So just having these guys here all day long, it just doesn't really do too much to the same champion. That's why with Zyra, the most important thing for this champion is proccing all of her combos at once. So right now, you know, while you're level 1, you could start farming. Occasionally I like to use my little monsters right here, or my little bird monster plant things, to help me clear out some minions. So as you can see, just for example, you can, right in this square is where, if you land this ability here, this seed right here is going to grow. It won't get this one. It's not inside the range. Now if it's right here inside the range, now you have 3 plants going. So pay attention to where you're landing your abilities. Sometimes you don't always need to root your target. If your target is right over, like just it is here, and you have like a seed going on, maybe, let me see if I can get my passive to go behind. Yeah. So if you could get it behind and you can land like that, you're still going to be doing some damage. So sometimes people like a Kali or Yasuo, you won't be able to land your ability through them immediately. Like a Kali, she has her smoke screen, so it'll be harder to detect where she's going to be going. A Yasuo has his wind wall. So you don't always have to land this ability first. As long as you get it in this area and you can at least have some plants behind like a Yasuo, you can proc those seeds to become your plants and start going aggro on that champion. So whenever I'm level 1, I mainly just want to farm and get level 2 as soon as I possibly can. When I'm level 2, I actually like to get, let me see. Oh, I actually like to get my W next. Your E is really just a good first ability to just grab, and you want to max this one first. You want to max E. It procs slow, it's easy to land, and when it goes through, people do a good amount of damage as well. So it's just the easiest ability to use first thing. Now you get better damage with different kinds of plants. So there's my passive, and there's that. My E is gonna do a little bit more. It's gonna be faster. There's gonna be a little bit more damage per second going on, whereas my Q is a different story. So at this point, we'll grab Q. This is the second ability that you want to max. So now, for example, here, if you have a Yasuo and you throw your root and he uses his wind wall, what you can actually do is do 2 plants behind him, proc your Q, and it'll make it harder for him to dodge and get out of. So that's just like one tip if you're facing a master or a Yasuo. So your overall combos for Zyra, you want to be a little patient and let your passive kind of fill up the lane a bit so that you can have as many plants as possible for whenever you're doing your ultimate. You want to have like full damage. Sometimes it's definitely not always going to happen. You're not always going to have plants in lane to have as many like of these guys as possible, and then procking them to grow, and then using your ultimate to get them all big and juicy plants. So that's never gonna always be the case. So some of the combos that you can use once you're level 3. Now the combos are gonna be your most important thing. Like I said, if you just do like one little plant here and you do another plant here, it is going to do a shit ton of damage, but landing the abilities at once and along with Electrocute is going to do some serious damage, which, by the way, I'll go ahead and start talking about my runes. For mid lane Zyra, I like to take Electrocute. The damage just, it just does so much, on top of my combos as well. So there's a lot of magic burst damage going on, and it just makes getting kills easier with her. The other one I like to run is Taste of Blood, but I will also do Cheap Shot as well. Whenever you use Cheap Shot, it will give you true damage on enemy champions that are impaired. So if you use your E will root them, and it also, the plants that you proc with your E slows them as well. And so that's a good one for Cheap Shot. What I like to run is Zombie Ward as well. You can run whichever one of these like ward things that you want. I like Zombie Ward because I like a well lit up map, and whenever I destroy enemy wards, which is something I'm constantly wanting to do, I can build some ability power destroying their wards. So especially when you're roaming, whenever you roam, you want to make sure that you can get vision down the rivers. It'll disorient junglers as well, because you'll be a step ahead of them. But that's just me. Not everyone is a big warder. I usually will support with Zyra, and I find Zombie Ward to have a nice lit up map, and that's what I prefer. Next is Ultimate Hunter. I want my ultimate to proc as quickly as possible. I want the cooldown ratio for it to be as low as possible, because again, Zyra procs most of her damage with her abilities all striking at once. One tip I want to give out whenever you're landing abilities is, if you notice your Q has a slight delay. So right when you pop your Q, you can hit W as well. And it'll sometimes confuse enemies. So if you're just kind of la-di-da-da-da and then bam, it's pretty quick and it's unpredictable. I like to use the abilities first and then land the plants in. Like that. So I'll go kind of slow. I'll go E, W, Q, W. And that's going to usually be my combos. So once I have both of my rampant growth, We'll wait for him to heal up and I'll show you the damage. Oh, I don't think I got all of them. So, my bad. I will show you again. So I do the whole clicky thing a lot. I don't really stand still, but I'm going to stand still for this one. Okay, there we go. So, that was still pretty fast. You have to kind of be quick. Bam. And there's 2 plants right there. They should look different. It should be E, W, Q, W. Bam. And then now. Oh, he's right there. It's hard to see him. I'm going to talk about range really quick. So, I'm going to hit right about here and do my Q. With Q, that's the link that with Q you're going to get further range. Now I'm going to plant the seeds on the same spot right here and do my E. So with your E, you have to get a little bit closer, like, to utilize that. So we'll do this again so you can see. And then I'll do them again. And then do my Q. So just know that your Q can be a lot further away. It says right here 575 range and lasts for 8 seconds. And the Vine Lasher is 400 range. So you have to get just a little bit closer. Probably about here. I think you could even be a little bit further away. Yeah, I would say about there. So whenever you're practicing Zyra, kind of get the feel of where you need to plant your seeds around enemy champions. So if they're kind of far away and I'm playing passive, I'm going to want to try and proc Q for a little bit of poke. So I would just do this and let my Q kind of go in. Let that poke action go, then I would do my E and my Q. Or my E and my W. Alright. I hope that's pretty self-explanatory on the combos. They're pretty basic. They're really simple. You can, honestly, you only have 2 abilities plus your ult, so it's not like you don't have to do too much. You can do Q, W, E, W. You can do it like that as well. The reason why I like to do my E first and then Q is because I know for sure that I can land my E a lot faster than my Q. Also, my Q has a shorter range, so I have to get closer to enemies. I have to be like about here to proc my Q, whereas my E, I can utilize my range. I don't have to get too close. And you could even see, like, it doesn't have to even land perfectly, as long as I even get it on that side right there. So E is just so much more of a useful ability to land first before your Q. Q does the most damage, but E can still tear things up, and I honestly suggest to max your E first. We're gonna go... Sorry, that's gonna bother me that my E isn't bigger than my Q. Alright, so lastly I'm gonna kind of show you the final combo. So I don't even have full ability power yet. Like, I just have my Doran's ring and my 2 health potions. So imagine, obviously, whenever you, like, let me see, I think you can, here we go. I'm gonna kind of give this thing a little bit of beef power going on. We'll say, like, we'll give him like 2,000 health. Just so I can give you an idea. Oh, one more thing. I forgot to go over my secondary rune choices. I like to do Transcendence because once I'm level 10, I reach 10% cooldown rate, or yeah, cooldown ratio. Is it cooldown reduction? Something like that. My CDR, I have 10% CDR, and that means this starts going faster, my cooldown reduction goes down faster with all my abilities. The faster I can get things back up and running, the better. And that's going to lead me to the next thing. Whenever you're going mid lane Zyra, I would actually rush Luden's Echo first. Luden's Echo gives you CDR. It also gives you mana. Zyra's not necessarily mana heavy, but she obviously relies on mana like no other. And it's 90 ability power as well. You get 10% cooldown reduction, so, and you gain charges upon moving or casting at 100 charges. The next damaging spell hit expends all charges to deal 100 plus 10% of ability power bonus magic damage to up to 4 targets on hit. So whenever you're going into team fights with Luden's Echo, this thing, that item is really, really effective. Now, obviously I would get Leandri's Torment next. It, especially because it goes the unique passive, the Torment, it gives a bonus damage increase by 2.5% against movement impaired units. So that alone is going to be really good with your E. And you can get this next. It gives you 700 health and 75 ability power. Now, if you're facing a pretty tough assassin and you find yourself a little bit in a bind, you could actually start with Zhonya's Hourglass, because you still get 10% cooldown reduction, and you get 75 ability power, which is still nice. And then you can go to Luden's Echo if you're struggling with your mid lane assassin, or if it's a good item to get anyways. But I would try to get Luden's Echo. I try and play safe and outsmart your enemy as much as possible. Zyra has so much distance. You have so many ways to get away. A lot of people would say like her getaways are like, you know, she doesn't have anything other than flash. But whenever you're walking down lane, I'll show you, like, she gets a little bit of movement speed whenever one of her passives procs. So I got a little bit of like some movement speed. It's hard to tell, but you can feel it in game.
Be ready.
I like how she does that. I never watched her animation before to like lay down plans. Sorry, that was cool. So yeah, you can work with your E a lot. You know, you don't have to, you just can sit back and farm with your plants. You can stay behind them. It's really, really easy to get away. Also, if someone chases you, you can proc your E and your Q, or your W, and then your Q and W, and your plants will just protect you. They'll protect you. Just run in your plant's direction. If you find yourself kind of like in a really bad spot, which will always happen, you know, you're in the jungle and you have one enemy here, one enemy here, and one enemy there, and to say it's a Master Yi just coming after you, you know, you'd want to go in and ult right there where you can, let him do his thing, let the plants start attacking him, and then you could run away. Pop your flash buddy, get really dramatic, there you go. But I would utilize your plans to try and get away from tight situations. Some things that are really funny to do is if you're in a tight spot, just kind of like lay your plants. Let your plants kind of protect you. Let them do their thing. If you see another plant pop up, bam, you know, they'll slow the enemy and they'll damage the enemy, and you can try and get away that way. It's just all a matter of trying to make a quick decision and outplay your opponent. It's easier. It's easier said than done. I will say that. All right, I'm gonna finalize this combo really quick to show you, once you get your ultimate, how you want things to start looking. So you kind of want to be a little bit closer, like it's just about here. You want to be in your Q's range, because this is when you're gonna start to use your abilities and get your damage to really proc. So that's what it's gonna look like. You're gonna go in with your E, your Q, and your R, but you have to land your plants as well. So E, W, Q, W, R. And then you can put on a little ignite. There's a nice little weird beat. So with just my Doran's ring, I already do so much damage. That's a good amount of damage right there. Damage per second. The total damage is just really good. So whenever you get something like Luden's, it's gonna be even more beautiful. And really quick, I can just show you the damage. Let's get some gold. So this is what I want my builds to look like. So this last build right here, depending on how well you're doing in lane, I'll usually run for the Dark Seal. Obviously wouldn't do any good in this, but I will go for Dark Seal. It's you want to get some extra damage, and it's just really fun to me. I like this build. Or this item. It's really interesting, and it's kind of fun and risky. Another one you can if you know this just doesn't work out for you and you're kind of just, you're doing well but you're not carrying or anything, I would get Rael's Crystal Scepter. You could either get that or Zonia's Hourglass, whichever you want. I feel like you get some health out of these two, and I feel like if you're healthier and you stay far behind, you should be okay. I would definitely keep Void Staff. You need some magic penetration. And you want the Sorcerer's Shoes as well. And that'll be pretty nice. If you don't want to like build Zonia's Hourglass for whatever reason, you can build armor in your boots instead. It's not as effective, and I don't think, and like also the other thing is Zonia's Hourglass gives you ability power too, so I don't know why anyone would want to build armor boots instead, but just something. Alright, so like a full build would look like this. It's pretty fucked up. But here's the thing. You can't, yes, calm down. So your abilities themselves, they do a good amount of damage. Like that's a pretty good hit from the health bar. And there's my Q, which isn't that great. Also I maxed my E, so it's a lot more damaging. But all of the BP plants. Oh my goodness. I'm having fun, sorry. So, yeah. It's not the single ability power that does it. It's literally landing your E and then your Q on top of that E to do even more. So, as you can see, that's where the damage is going to come from, is landing the combos. If you don't land the combos, you're not going to get that beautiful damage that you see where Zyra just control alt deletes enemy champions. And that's it. That's kind of all I have. I will play a game where I can give you guys some tips on farming. I could farm here, but honestly, whenever you're farming up against enemy champions, it's a different story, like facing up against real people. So I could make a video on that as well if you guys would like to know. I'm gonna kind of dedicate a few videos on how to become a Zyra main and how to perfect her abilities. And yeah, I'm excited for the new Coven skin. Not sure about you guys, but anyways, that's it for the video. Let me know in the comments if there's any questions you might have or anything that I didn't cover, because I can be a little ADD and forget what I was even talking about. So, alright, thank you everybody. I will see you in the next video.